How does each John Wick film get better? This should have been a one and done film. How's a franchise about a man seeking revenge for a dead dog have such a fascinating lore to it? These were my immediate thoughts circling my head as I watched John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. If you look at the first John Wick on paper, it sounds like such a stupid idea. On paper, it sounds like a movie that should star a mid-tier WWE wrestler like The Miz with Triple H playing Winston. Not fucking Keanu Reeves. But somehow this script got to Keanu Reeves and he said, "Why yes, I'll totally play an assassin who has a 70+ body count over a dog." With each viewing of the first John Wick, I love it more and more. In my John Wick Chapter 2 review, I gave the first John Wick a 4 out of 5. Nope. I changed my star rating for Guardians of the Galaxy due to my then new 4.5 rating, so I'm gonna do it here. The first John Wick is a 5-star film. Chad Stahelski and David Leitch created what is essentially the American version of The Raid with that film. We also got to give credit to writer Derek Kolstad, who also wrote that film and crafted this unique and awesome world. Damn it! I have an idea for an analytical review now. Then you have John Wick Chapter 2, which focuses on the lore behind the Continental, a building that is a character in and of itself in this franchise. Though David Leitch was no longer attached, Chad Stahelski nailed it with the invented action set pieces and a great script. Then you have John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, which combines the best of both worlds of this franchise, the lore and the awesome set pieces. At the start of this film, it knows what you paid for. John Wick is excommunicado from the events of John Wick Chapter 2, meaning anyone that is an assassin will get $14 million if he is killed. Immediately, you get not one, but 2 kick-ass action set pieces. Not since True Lies has a horse been used so effectively in an action scene. Chad Stahelski pays homage to the great action directors before him. The suspense of John McTiernan, the atmosphere of Michael Mann, the style of Tony Scott, and the tense action of John Woo, sans doves of course. Each action set piece seems to one-up each other and I fucking love it. Keanu Reeves is the fucking man. Here he is at 54 giving young people a run for their money. If anyone deserves to have a great franchise, it's him. Any movie with Keanu Reeves in it is an opening weekend movie for me, and he so kills it here as John Wick. Halle Berry's Sophia needs a spin-off movie pronto. Flanked by 2 German shepherds, she is a new member of the First Frame Club, where I feel a movie character is compelling from the first frame. In fact, it's my favorite performance of 2019 so far. That may change at the end of the year, but it is such a great role. Maybe it's because the day I watched the first John Wick theatrically, I did a photo shoot with a model and her German Shepherd, but this is such a damn great character that I want to see more of. Asia Kate Dillon is such an interesting villain. Asia Kate Dillon is essentially a bureaucrat doing a job by going after the people who helped John Wick. They are such an interesting character. To them, it's doing a job. Which leads to the big bad of the film, Mark Dacascos. Chances are you already know who he is if you are a loyal watcher of the Food Network. But in watching him on Iron Chef America doing somersaults down the aisle, giving such an energy about food, I was kinda hoping he would get an action movie role. Boy, does he not disappoint. He even gets some of the best lines of the film, revealing himself to be a huge John Wick fanboy. That segs into another thing. This film is genuinely funny. When a joke lands, it lands hard. John Wick is using a horse to attack assassins, and it works for me 100%. It never took me out of the movie like a certain superhero dabbing. But my one tiny issue, and it's more of a nitpick, is that I feel Stahelski kind of repeats himself a little bit. The third act setting is fairly similar to the mirror room in John Wick Chapter 2. While I do like the aesthetic of showing a silent film clip in Times Square, I saw it done in Chapter 2. But when I'm just looking for nitpicks, you know it's a great film. If I had to choose gun to head what I feel the best modern action franchise is between Mission Impossible or John Wick, it's hands down John Wick. John Wick is not an ego driven franchise. The first film was a sleeper hit. Nobody expected this movie to be a critical and commercial smash. On the other hand, the Mission Impossible franchise started as a self insert fanfic where Tom Cruise made the original Mission Impossible main character Jim Phelps the villain and Ethan Hunt the hero. It wasn't until the Mission Impossible movies got named that they became good. As much as I love what Christopher McQuarrie did with those films, I want it to go back to having a different director for each film. If they just ended the John Wick franchise with this film, I would have called this a perfect trilogy. But John Wick Chapter 4 was just announced for 2021, and I am counting down the days. These films remind me as to why I love old school 80s action films. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum keeps adding on more layers to a story that started off as a hitman getting revenge for a dead dog, and you want to know more about these characters that are introduced. Chad Stahelski and Derek Kolstad proved that you can make an action film more than the sum of its parts. I'm happy this franchise exists, so John Wick definitely gets a 4.5 out of 5. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and spread the word about New Realms Media. Follow me now on all my socials at New Realms Media. Until then, I'll see you next time.